I think Shakur's gonna break him. I think maybe the first two or three rounds, it might be a close fight. It might be close. It might be 2-1 or something like that. But then after that, I feel like Shakur is probably gonna start stepping up, and Teo's gonna try to hit him, and it's not gonna work. And then Shakur might start.
If Shakur can show us a little bit of that, what he had in his last fight, a lot of that work in the center of the ring, it's going to be an exciting fight. I think you got to favor the guy who's in the best condition, not only physically.
Okay, y'all take care. You have polar opposites in the ring. They do what they do very well. Teo is a sharp, big puncher. Shakur is articulate to the 9th degree.
Before most voices weighed in, Regis Prograis publicly backed Shakur Stevenson. He said Teofimo Lopez often struggles to stay consistent, mentally and physically, when it's time to perform. Stevenson, by contrast, doesn't hesitate to lean on his speed, movement, and ring IQ, and Prograis believes that combination is why Shakur is favored to win without much trouble. In his view, the fight goes the distance, with Lopez ultimately coming up short over the full rounds.
I got Shakur for sure. Shakur.
Do you think he wins this comfortably, or do you think it'll be a close fight?
I think he wins it comfortably. Yeah, I think he wins it comfortably. I think Shakur. I think the thing is about Teo is very good athletically, but he's weak-minded. You can see in some fights he's struggling. Teo does struggle. Now he does come up for big fights. Lomachenko, he came up. Josh Taylor, he came up. But a lot of fights, man, he struggles. He does struggle on a whole lot of fights and stuff. Like, I think he looked good. Yeah, he looked good against Barboza. But like I said, for the most part, Teo does struggle. And I think he struggles mentally with a lot of things.
Oscar Valdez, a former opponent of Shakur Stevenson, says Shakur's near unbeatable edge comes from dedication and ring intelligence. Valdez explains that Stevenson stays locked on what's in front of him, something he describes as the complete opposite of how Teofimo approaches certain fights. While acknowledging Stevenson's advantages, Valdez still advises Lopez to build a strong game plan and commit to it, no matter how the action shifts once they're in the ring.
You're going to set the tone with someone with Shakur, you better have a game plan, because he's going to be patient. He's not going to get off his game plan to fall into your trap. So if I'm Teofimo Lopez coach, I would tell him not to lose focus, not to get frustrated inside the ring. Stick to your game plan, whatever game plan it is. First A, B, C, whatever it is, stick to it and go for it. But someone like Shakur Stevenson, like I said, it's easier said than done with a fighter like that. Because
Abel Sanchez also spoke highly of Shakur Stevenson, calling him the best pound-for-pound fighter and one of the strongest defensive boxers in the sport. Sanchez believes Stevenson will lean into his natural advantages and show Teofimo Lopez what high-level boxing really looks like. He says Shakur's ability to land clean shots while staying out of return fire is what makes him special. If Stevenson shows up in the same kind of shape again, Sanchez warns, Lopez could struggle badly.
Yeah, and that's the name of the game, right? Land your punches and don't get hit by the other guys.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you think of his fight with Teofimo? And what do you think of Teofimo when you've watched him?
Yeah,
You ever seen him here in this gym?
Yeah, I worked with Teofimo too when he was getting ready for Olympics.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, he was over there in Colorado Springs also.
He adds that after watching Teofimo train, Lopez can't be counted out. Lopez, he says, has plenty of tools that can be dangerous against Shakur, especially the angles he creates while firing those heavy shots, which is what makes him such a beast in the ring. So even if Stevenson has a lot working in his favor, Teofimo brings real strengths that could still prove decisive if he can put them together on fight night.
I think Teo's his angles. I think his angles are gonna be a factor, because he likes to use those angles. He's not one-dimensional. He likes to use those angles, and I think that's gonna kind of be a factor in the fight for Shakur, because Shakur's kind of stay in one spot, and so Teofimo could be utilizing those angles to use to his advantage, and so I think Teofimo, I think that's gonna be a big factor for him, is his angles and his speed and his power. He can crack too.
Andre Rozier believes this matchup is built to deliver. He says both fighters are close to even in overall skill, and each has enough ring knowledge to recognize what needs to be done in any moment. Right now, Rosier doesn't see a clear advantage for either man. For him, the most compelling part will be watching who makes the right adjustments as the fight unfolds, because that chess match could be what decides a difficult night for both competitors.
Well, I mean, I know that they're both in their labs working, and it's hard to really say right now. It's gonna be so interesting to see how they rise to the occasion. I'm so looking forward to it. The skills and challenging each other.
Echoing Abel Sanchez's respect for the matchup, Antonio Tarver laid out what he believes Teofimo Lopez must do to clear the biggest hurdle of his career so far. Tarver says Shakur's style is extremely difficult to crack, but he still believes Lopez's power can get through Stevenson's defense. In Tarver's view, Lopez shouldn't settle for a long round-by-round battle. He says Teofimo needs to make it hurt, push the pace, do damage, and ultimately look for the stoppage, because that's the clearest path to victory. For Tarver, trying to box him over 12 is the approach Lopez should avoid.
Well, he's the guy with the power, so, I would be exchanging, man. I would want to try to, get in as many exchanges as I can. And that'd probably be his best game plan if he wants to, like I said, hurt Shakur, even maybe stop him, because I just don't think he can round for round stay ahead and win a boxing match. I just don't think he can do that, and it would surprise me if he...
Mikey Garcia admits he's torn when it comes to picking a winner. He points to the qualities Shakur Stevenson leans on every time: maturity, control, and the kind of ring intelligence that hasn't failed him yet, and expects Shakur to use that same steadiness to add another win. But Garcia also highlights Teofimo Lopez's natural power and what he sees as a clear size advantage. In his view, Lopez has to lean into those physical edges, because maximizing strength and size is the best way to swing the fight in Teofimo's favor on fight night.
Teofimo, being that technically he's a bigger fighter, bigger size, he's been at the weight class a little more, and then just maybe built into it more. I would think he would have to use that, size as an advantage. But it's hard to say, because, Shakur Stevenson's so fucking good at what he does. Defense is on point, speed is on point, footwork is on point. And, he's really one of the best skilled fighters out there. So it's hard to say, oh, this is what you gotta do. No, it ain't easy, trust me. But being Teofimo, again, if he's bigger, naturally stronger, then he should try to use that, to his advantage.
That's it for today. Stay tuned. See you next time.